Hello guys, welcome to today's video. So in today's video we are going to link this login page and the sign up page to a database. So here we have our login page. As you can see, it's not working yet. We have the password site, we have the show password, and this is the login button. Nothing's happening. We have the forgot password page as well. Same thing here, nothing's happening. We also have the sign up page as well. Same thing here. So we are going to link all this to a database. So if you are new to this channel, kindly subscribe to our channel for more cool videos whenever we upload them. So let's get into the source code. So first I'm going to import some few things I need to connect to the database. So we are going to connect it to SQLite 3 database. So we need to import it. So first import SQLite 3. So we also need to import our message box as well, so we can display messages, warning messages and successful messages whenever we click on our buttons. So let's say from Tkinter import message box, import message box. Okay, I think we are okay now. So what we are going to do now is we are going to link, first of all let's link the standard page to a database right here. So let's scroll down to our sign up page. So here's my registration page, which is the sign up page. We start from here under this comment, start from right here. So all these code are the code for the registration page. So down here I've already done a place allocated for the database connection already. So let's just come under here. So we are going to link it to SQLite 3 as I said. So let's create a connection to the database. So let's name our connection. So let's say SQLite 3 dot connect and open parenthesis. So we are going to give a name to our registration, to our database. We want to name our database. So if I want to name my database, let's say I want to name it okay, let's name it registration and login page. So let's say reg log dot db. Okay, so now let's define our cursor. So what the cursor does is that the cursor is like it goes into the database and find whatever information you want. So maybe you can tell your cursor, please get me this data, insert this data, delete this data, all sort of things. So that's what the cursor does. So let's name our cursor. So let's say connection dot cursor. Okay, so let's execute our database now. So let's tell our cursor to create a database. That's what I want to tell our cursor to create a database for us. So let's say execute. So open parenthesis. So let's say we are telling our cursor to create table if not exist. create table if not exist. So whenever you launch your Python file and there's no database, it will create the database for you automatically. So that's what this means. So create a table called registration login, like as we define here, registration login.db. So create table if not exist, registration login. So what informations do we want to put in our table? So we want email. So in our sign up page, we have full name, we have our email, we have our password and confirm password. So let's say email, and but the email is going to contain text basically. So let's say text, and let's make it a primary key. Let's make it a primary key. So email, and it's going to contain text. It will accept text, and we are making it our primary key. So that's what it means. Then we have our full name as well. Our full name, which is right here, the first entry, our full name. So let's say full name, and this will contain text as well. So text. Then we have our password. We have our password here as well. After we have our password right here. So password, spelling wrong. Okay. So password, okay, let's make it text. Some people like to use their names and some figures for password as well. So let's basically make it text. Okay. Then finally we have our confirm password. So let's say confirm password, and let's give it text as well. Okay, so I think let's bring this down because I don't want to have trouble with Tkinter line too long. So I'll bring it down here to remove this one. Okay, so I want to count down here. So let's call our connection, which we defined here, dot commit. Then we'll close our connection finally. Okay, so now we create our database. So now we create a connection whereby whenever we launch our Python file or we launch our application or whatever, if there is no database, in this connection will automatically create a database name registration login.db. You can name it whatever you want, anyhow you want to name your database. Just name it here .db, which is necessary, db, which is database. That's the extension. Then the cursor is, like I said, the cursor goes into the database and perform whatever we want it to do. You give it the command and it gives you the result. So cursor execute, create table if not exist, registration log, email, which is our primary key, full name, our password, and our confirm password right there. So now here let's create a function here. So now we create our database. So now before the database will work, We need to connect our database to the sign up page, whereby anything we enter into these entry boxes, it goes into the database. So how do you do that? First, let's create a command. Let's create a function and give our login button a command such that you click on the let's create a command into our where is our let me close this tab here. So let's find our this is our sign up button, which is this. This is the sign up down button here. So we are giving it a command. So what this command will do is that when you enter values into these entry boxes and you click on it, the command is going to execute itself and take all these data you've entered here into the database. So inside our command, so we have our button. So inside our button, let's say command, let's say lambda. So let's say submit. Let's name our command submit. Okay, so this what lambda does is basically it fetch data whenever you click on the command. The lambda makes sure that it goes into where your source is, your reference of the command is, and do the calculation or whatever is there and bring back the result. So that's what the lambda does. So you can see PyCharm already displays something here. There's a lambda expression, sometimes called lambda forms, are used to create anonymous functions. The expression lambda argument expression yields a function object. The unnamed object behaves like a function object defined with like def. That's like define, like as I said, argument to return expressions. So under here, let's define. So let's say submit, because why are you saying submit? Because we are saying our command is submit. So submit here. Okay. So one of the things I love about Python is the counter function. So what we are going to do is that we are going to use this counter function to make sure it checks. We have our entry boxes to make sure that if the user skip any of these entry box, so let's say the user skip the full name and if he entered his email, password and confirm password, the counter function we are going to create is going to check and tell the user to provide the full name. So which means until the user provide everything here, he or she can sign up. So that's what we are going to use the counter for. So let's define a function called check counter. You can any name, you can define it anyhow you want. So check counter, let's assign it to 0. So let's say 1. Let's give the empty code. So we come back here. Now if let's use the if function here. So if name entry. So where is the name entry? The name entry is our full name here. So take note of that. So if name entry dot get, so what the get does is it checks and make sure that it checks and bring back the result. So get equivalent to empty, so empty string. So what you are saying that if the entry box is empty, so the get checks inside the name entry, which is our full name, checks there, and when it's empty, the user doesn't enter anything. What do we want? We want a warning. So kindly warn the user. So quickly warn. So what do you want? So what, tell the user warn. Okay, so tell the user full name can't be empty. Okay, so let's do it for the rest as well. So else, okay, let's bring the else function here. So what the else is, that is, okay, when the full name entry is empty, display this warning, warn the user full name can't be empty. Hence, what if it's not empty? Then count, move to next step. So that's what the else. So else we say check counter. The check counter we've already defined here. So check counter +1. So what this means that now we've initially defined our check counter to 0 right here. So right here, if the first time the counter counts 0, which is initial 0, now if the full name box is empty, it's going to warn the person can't be empty. Hence, what if it's not empty? So the user actually entered the full name there. Then count, add +1. So here is 0, so +1. So +1 goes to 1. So now the check counter is going to count 1. And reason of this is we are going to check for another entry box. So what if we add the count +1? So the count +1 as well, what do we want it to do? So we'll define another if function. So let's say if email entry. Once again, our email entry is this right here. So if email entry dot get is equivalent to empty string, which means if the email entry box is empty as well, then warn the user email field can be empty. Email field can't be empty. So let's make it as well full name field. Full name field can be empty. Email field can't be empty. Then it counts again. Let's come here. Then we count again. So else. Then check counter once again. So what we are using the count function, right? That's what we are using here, the count function. So the count function checks, like I said, checks 0. When this is fulfilled, then it goes count +1, goes to the next stage. If this is fulfilled, count again +1 again until it reaches where you tell the count to stop. That's what it will do. So this will be counting +1 until you give it the command that stop here and do this. So let's do it for the password field as well. So if password entry. Once again, the password entry is this our password entry here. Then we have our confirm password entry. So I hope you know where all this is coming from. So this all in the source code. So this is our password entry here as well. This is our password entry, that email entry. So this all we are calling inside the function, so don't get confused. So if our password entry dot get is also equivalent to empty string, then check counter. Sorry, first we need to create a warning. So let's just copy this to save time. So let's say password field can't be empty. Then we go to else. Check counter. Check counter +1. So now let's do it for the last entry box, which is the confirm password entry box. There right there. So let's copy all this. So if confirm, so this should be confirm password entry. So confirm password entry, which is our confirm password entry. So since this is our final, so here's our confirm password entry. So this is our last entry box. So let's just say, let's copy there. So let's say sorry. So this is the warning that to be given the user when the user doesn't enter anything in the entry box. So this is what you are doing. So sorry, can't sign up. So make sure say all fields are complete. Make sure all fields are complete. Then we go to the check counter +1. So now we have done checking. So now let's say if, so like I said, this the counter will be checking +1 +1 +1. So now after it checks, when it checks the confirm password, then it's not empty, something is there. Then what do you want to do? So that's what I go to do. So if check counter is equivalent to, let's say, 5. So why are we saying 5? Because how many do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the check counter is going to be checking 5 times. So first it checks, so it will count 0 for the first time, and it will give you check the name entry. If the name entry is filled, there's something inside, it checks, it counts +1 again, which becomes number 2. It counts again 3, it counts again 4, counts again 5. So I think the count function that if you are able to count 5 successfully, so which means if you count 5, then it means all this has been filled, which means because it can't count here if the full name is not empty, because you are telling that if full name is empty, then 1 full name can't be empty. So this can count only when there is something actually in the full name. So for it to count 5, it means all this has been filled. That's why it's able to count up to 5. So that's what we are saying. If check counter, or if count is 5, then let's bring some semicolon. Okay, then try, let's count this. So connection, let's create a connection as well to the database. So SQLite 3, so our database, which is the registration login .db, then cursor, so connection dot cursor, okay, connection dot cursor. I will come here and execute. So let's say insert into registration login database these values. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we have 4 informations. Let's check it and make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 fields. Okay, so we've already created our database here. So it means first, when you create the database, which is called registration login, create database registration login .db, create if not exist. So we've created this field, full name, and so all these field, which is 4 fields, we've created it already. So now after it checks the entry boxes and the user was able to complete the form, then now we say try, now connect to the database which we've already created and insert the values which the user entered into the entry boxes above. Insert the values into the, so this question mark represents our email field, it represents the fields inside the database. So there's insert the values inside the fields. So the values which you don't know, that's why it represents to them, because you don't know the value the user is entering. So enter that values inside the fields created. So that's what that means, basically means. So what are the field? We have the field that we have the email. So let's say we have our email, let's say .get, email.get. We have our full name, this should be dot get as well. Then we have our password. Then we have confirm password. Don't get so let's close parentheses. Okay, so come here. So now define our connection dot commit. Okay, I think there is some error here as well. End of statement. Okay, I think this is the error here. I think this shouldn't be here. Okay, here we go. So connection dot connect. We have our connection. So now we close our database. Close. Okay. Then after inserting the values, now then show a message box. So let's say show info. Show info. Let's say success. Then display the message. Let's say new account created successfully. The account created successfully. Except, so let's say, so which means if something happened creating the account, that's what the except should do. So if something happened again when inserting into the database, if there's another error, so we want to display the error. So that's what we are going to use except exception as let's say AP. When we come down, so display whatever error on the message box. So message box dot let's say show error. Show error. Okay. And one more thing for the if function as well. For the counter, it also need an else function. So if something is wrong with the counter as well, then show. So let's say message box show error. Error. One. Okay, so what this will do is when it counts, because this else function is in line with this if, so which means if this check counter is 5, it counts to 5, and because where is the 5? This is the 5 we have here. Let's bring some space here. So this is the check counter, the fifth one. So it counts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is the fifth one. So it means if something happens here, if the entry box is empty, then to display this message, show error, then 1. So what's the warning here? Our warning here is the sorry, can't sign up. Make sure all fields are complete. So that's what this is. So for the exception here as well, now let's say after it counts to 5, now we are telling it that when it gets to 5, insert into the database we've created inside the email. So let's bring some space here as well. Okay, so insert into email full name, password, and confirm password. So after insert inside it, now display message box success, new account created successfully. Or if there is a problem whilst inserting into the database, so this except here will show exception as EP, will show us error, whatever error is it happens here while inserting our values into the database. So that's what it does here. So let's check whether this is working. I want to make, okay, I have space here. But I'm always underlining things. Don't like this underlines things here. Verb of lowercase. Maybe that anyway. Okay. Okay, everything is set now. I want to make sure we don't have any error. Okay, so now inside there we've used email, full name. So now we've created our database and we've created all these submit stuff and things. So now how does the submit function now recognize the email? So okay, how would the database know whenever you enter email inside the email box? This is where the email box is. So how do we do that? So we are going to define some variables. So what the variables does is that it connects the variables will help us connect our entry boxes to the database. So whenever we enter into the database, we enter into that entry box, it goes straight inside the database when we click on the submit. So that's what we are going to do. So let's come to the top here and define variables. So let's say text variables. So we have our email. So let's say string value because it is going to be string value. So say string value. We have our full name. Let's copy this. So full name is also going to be string value. We have our password. It's also going to be string value. And our confirm password. Going to be string value. So now that we define our variables, let's go back to the sign up page. So we are going to link each of the entry boxes with our variables. So now we are in our register. So now this is the name entry where we enter our full name. So inside the name entry, let's say text variable, and we are using the full name because we use the full name, we've defined it there. Then we have the email, and that is the email entry. So same thing, text. Let me just copy this to save time. So this should be email. Then we have the password entry as well. So this will be password. We have our confirm password entry. So this will be confirm password. I am. Okay, so let's make sure we don't have any error first. So okay, here we go. I think this is 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think there's an error here. Let's say check counter 0. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I think this is 4. This should be 4 rather. So we have, because here initially we have 0 plus 1, so plus 2. This become plus 3. This become plus 4. So this should be 4. Okay, let's leave the 5. Let's create another warning for, so let's say under the, let's create another one. So let's just copy this. Okay, so let's say if, so let's copy this. Say so if password entry dot get, so if password entry dot get is not equal to, it's not equal to confirm password entry dot get. So what this will do is to make sure if the password doesn't match, if our password is not equal and our confirmed password are not the same, so it will warn us. So let's say passwords didn't match. Passwords didn't match. Then so now this is 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so this is okay. So okay, I think everything's fine. I don't think we have any errors so far. So what is going to happen is that now I just want to open my folder here. So if you check inside my folder here closely, you can see the files I have here. I have .ideal. This comes with the PyCharm thing. We have images, we have virtual environment. This is a Python file, this is image, all this. So the reason why I'm showing you this is that you can see immediately I launch this Python page. Immediately I launch this Python page, it's going to create a database inside this this folder here. Inside this folder, which is this folder where I have my files here. So the reason why I want you to take note is that you realize that in the beginning here we said we create a connection that create a table if not exist. So anywhere this file is going to be located, you are going to realize that anytime you launch this file and there is no database located, so the file we are doing right now is the registration login page system.py. So anytime you launch this file and there's no database at where this file is, it will create a database there for you. So when we launch this file, we are going to see a new database created with this name. Okay, so let's launch this file. So once again, just take note of this space while I launch this file. So run registration login page system. Okay, I need to change my operator. Okay, so let's quickly come back and check what I was talking about. So you see we have a new database created. Initially this file was not here, so let's delete it once again. So delete. Okay, so you can see this place is empty again. So let's launch it once again for you to see. So let me close it. Let me close it and launch it again. Okay, so immediately we launch it, here we've seen the database here. So our connection, we said create database if not exist with the name registration login.db. So immediately you launch your Python file and there's no database that exists with this name registration login.db, it will create that database for you every time unless this database is there. So right now this database is there. Let's close it again and launch it. So I close it again and launch it. So let's minimize it. So you can see it's still there because it's already existed, so it will not create another one again unless this is not there. That's going to create a new one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to browse this database. So I'm going to use DB browser. So this app, DB browser SQLite, to browse our database. You can download it as well if it's very necessary to, if you want to browse your database, or you can even do it in the command prompt. You can even do it with the, if you have SQLite installed in your system, you can use the shell to view the database there. But if you don't have it installed, then kindly download DB browser for SQLite used to browse your database. So I want to, so I'll put the link of the DB browser of this app for you if you want to download it as well. So to browse it, so let's inside the app, let's say open database. So I want to go to the source where the database is. So users I have it inside where am I? Okay, I have it here. Okay, so here is the database we have here with the name DB. So I want to click on it and click open. So here's our database here. So we can see create table, registration, login, email, text, primary key, full name, password. So let me right click on it and browse table. So these are field. These are email field, our full name field, our password field, our confirm password field. So as you can see, it's created immediately we launch the Python file. It's created a table with this information, with the field inside. That is what we are seeing here. So now let's try and add data into this table and see. So let's come here. Now let's come to the sign up. So let's say we have name here. Let's say send Gideons. Let's say Gideons at gmail.com. So our password is 1234 1234. So okay, our password match. So let's sign up. Okay, so now it's new account created successfully. So let's see. So let's minimize it and come back here inside the data. So let me refresh it. So as you can see, this is the information we just created here. As you can see, this is my email, gideons@gmail.com. And we have our full name, St. Gideons, right here. Then we have our password here as well. So you can see now, you can see our registration form is working. So let's try add another data here. So let's say St. Gideons 2. So let's say Gideons 24. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5, 6, 7. So it's successful. So new account created successfully. So let's check, refresh it again. So this is the new account added here. As you can see right here, Gideons24@gmail.com, and the full name St. Gideons 2. So the next thing we are going to do now is so okay, now let's test this count functions here, these plenty things we just type here. Let's see if they are worth it. So let's try and test them. Okay, did I close mine? Okay, let's launch it again. Okay, so now let's say let's type anything. So let's say rat. Let's say rat at gmail.com. Let's say 2022. Okay, so now let's try and clear this rat here. So which means we are leaving one field without it being filled. So let's click sign up. So as you can see, it showed an error. Full name field can be empty because our full name field is empty there. So let's add something there. Let's say rat, and let's remove the Gmail there. Let me copy it. Okay, let's sign up again. So email field can be empty. That's because the email field is empty as well. Now let's see the password as well. So password didn't match. So you can see because we have password here. So okay, if let's say we put, let's add something there, let's make it different. So until we have same data here equal to same data here, into match. So passwords didn't match. So let's say we make the password match then. So 2022 or 2022. So now it goes new account created successful. That's because all these fields are being filled. So that is basically what all these plenty things you are typing here are doing here. It looks plenty. So that's what we say check counter. So first counter 0 if name is empty. So if name entry dot get is empty, that's the empty string. Then 1 full name can be empty. If then count plus 1. If email entry dot get is also empty, 1 email field can be empty. So count plus 1. So now we are count 2 times already. So if password entry can be empty, password field can be empty. So count plus 1. Now we have count third time. So for the fourth time, if confirm password entry can be empty, sorry, can't sign up, make sure all fields are complete. So if password entry, so now this is 4, count 4. So this is the fifth count. If password entry dot get is not equal to confirm password entry dot get, say password didn't match. So everything, add the data in the password entry must be equal to the data in the confirm password entry. So okay, so let's just say, let's make it password field, let's say data in password field didn't match. Then so when it bypass all these counts, so when the user finally typed something here, the user finally typed something here, typed something here, typed something here. So when it was able to count successfully to the fifth, then it comes here, try. So after the fifth count, try registration login. So you are connecting to the registration login database that you've already created. So we are inserting these values into them. So the values inside the entry box, we inserted them, and when it's successful, success, new account created successful. So that's what the all is about. So now the next step is, let's get to the login, the login, the login side right here. So no, okay, the login form here, where is it? Right? Okay, I was showing the registration, sorry. So this is the login. The sign up was right here. So the login, you have to click here to come to the login. So right now the login is not working. Now we've done with the sign up. So you can see, sorry, can't sign up. Make sure all fields are complete. So this is working now. Until you filled all these fields here, there's not going to be, this is not going to work for you. By the login form, we've not done anything to it yet. So that's what you are going to do next.